Go. Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 413. That's 413, that's more than 412, one less than 414, and that's about all the math I'm going to do today. It's Wednesday, April 28th, 2021. My name is Russell Frost, and I have the good fortune to be joined by these lovely people for another episode of What Drives Us. Let me introduce them and get this show on the road. To my left on my screen, which is not your screen, and if that's confusing, run with it. My friend Georgia McKenzie.
Hey everybody, hope you are enjoying spring weather wherever the heck you are. Although if you're in Connecticut, it might be snowing. Who knows?
That's it. Yeah. Hummingbirds fighting like angry little dinosaurs that they are here in San Diego. On my right on my screen again, may not be on yours, but that's the way I am. Our friend of the Mid-Atlantic region, Mr. Kacey Green.
How's it going? We had a forecast of the 90s. My car was telling me it was 110. So that was spring.
In the 90s?
Yes.
My high was 75 today.
Nice.
87 up there.
Wow.
You know? We're skipping spring. We're just going straight to sprummer.
Straight to holy hell, is this really the weather? A man who enjoys beautiful paradise weather year-round, our friend in Canada, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
82 degrees here today. So that's we're just skipping spring altogether, just jumping right into summer. Save us all a lot of time.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that spring and fall thing, those transitional seasons, they're so pointless, right?
Yep.
Why not just summer? Okay, we're done.
It was 40 last week.
Ay, ay, ay. Well, our friend up in the mountains, he is in Boulder and the founder and owner of Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado. And I could say Boulder one more time, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, and it's nice to be back, and it's a little sunny right now, so I might have to adjust here. I got sun in my eyes. That's a good thing.
I think I might see the moon.
It's a beautiful blue sky in Colorado. And speaking of beautiful blue sky, it's always beautiful where this man lives. He is our friend in the Pacific Northwest, Mr. Patrick Connor.
It certainly is today. I didn't know we were doing the round of weather forecast, but we can't skip spring. Spring here is awesome because you don't need the AC yet, and yet you get sunshine. So that's when some of my best solar months, because I'm not using the AC. So it's beautiful 72 degrees right here right now. So that's nice.
Spoken like a true clean energy warrior, Mr. Connor. And what in the name of Beelzebub is that multicolored thing behind you?
Oh, yeah. You like that? Yeah. Woo.
Well, it's new, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Does it serve a function or is it just pretty?
Just pretty. Yeah.
Kind of like me.
It's mood LED. It's how he gets all into it.
Yeah.
Feeling.
I've got a remote here. I can change it to one of its other 255 settings if you prefer.
Wow.
Patrick's got so much solar energy that he's just burning it
just
wherever he
pissing
can.
it away. Like there's a plug on in front of his house that says free electricity. Come, go ahead, just plug in, take whatever you need.
Patrick with his electricity.
That's
Just
right.
making it rain.
These
Not
are
to
high
mention the Bitcoin mine at his
LEDs, so yeah.
Nice. Well, we do have a lot of news to cover, so let's go to our friend Kacey Green for the first story and get this show on the road.
So, do you have a picture for us?
Oh, now you want me to do something? No. Yeah. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Absolutely.
So our friends over at the Honest Government Ad group, they go by the name of their channel is escaping me right now, but you've seen their ads probably. They're going into, what do they call it? They're talking about the Australian and Wales, New South Wales EV policies for that they're pushing going forward, whereas the rest of the world is going into banning fossil fuels, going EV only. Australia has decided to go a different route, and the key phrase from this.
EV disincentive.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And the key phrase from this video is FFS, which actually is the acronym that the Australian government used, but these guys chose to use it the way that we might interpret it if we heard, the letters FFS. Add a little bit of face palming, So basically, Australia makes a lot of money off of exporting coal, and you would think that a vehicle that could directly use the coal might be more something they'd be into than something that has oil they have to import and burn. But politicians. So it's a 4-minute 30 some odd second video. It's very funny. I liked it, and I wanted to share it with you all.
And you'll be able to get the link in the show notes. So do check that out. It's not safe for work, apparently.
No, yes.
So
Just mild language, yes.
And Kacey, for the old people in the audience, what does FFS mean?
They can go to urbandictionary.com and look up
Yes.
FFS if they'd like to know what that means.
for fuck's sake.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not going to send everybody to the Urban Dictionary.
You should have
You're adults
used
here.
FFS. Just go to use it in the sentence telling them to go somewhere.
There you go.
Your child does something incredibly stupid and gets in trouble with the law. You exclaim FFS and you go pick them up from the constabulary.
There you go.
That was a pretty funny video. I definitely recommend checking it out. It was worth a laugh.
Yeah.
It is. It's a good one.
But while being funny, it's also informative. Hopefully, their politicians take the hint and consider themselves. But Australia
seems
politics tend to be pretty, obstinate, and they're probably not going to change. Yeah.
Well, there you go. See, a little levity in a week. This week is probably a good thing. I support that. I definitely support that. Well, thank you, Kacey, for that. Next story. Let's go to, what's his name? Oh, it's Patrick's. Oh, yeah, this one.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of fun
Okay.
and levity,
Yeah.
we have a story from businessjournaldaily.com and is titled Carma broadens claims against Lordstown Motors, adds conspiracy and RICO violations. So
Carma, the folks that made the Fisker Rivera.
it's no longer called Fisker, right?
Right.
So,
Yes.
yeah, there used to be the Fisker Carma,
Yeah.
and then that company went under and sold all of their assets to what is now Carma Automotive. And so some of that great stuff that Carma now has, they are accusing an employee of leaving Carma and taking their secrets with them and going to Lordstown Motors to try to use them there. And then they had, I guess, enough evidence to get discovery. And during discovery, they found some more stuff that they did not like. And they are filing even more claims against Lordstown. And I was going through the article here, and I found it funny that they are claiming that one of the big things that that's being stolen is their infotainment system for Carma, which, if you know anything about cars, all the infotainment systems suck. So of all the things you'd want to steal, that's probably not one of them. But
Especially the one in the Carma. That thing is from 2012.
right, yeah, but still, even if it is, joking aside, even if it is horrible, that doesn't give the right to another company to steal it. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And if they end up in some cross license, or if one of them buys the other, or who knows how this is going to go through the court system. But these kind of spats within the auto industry, we've seen them over and over. There was the huge one that we talked about on the show several times with Anthony Lewandowski, where Waymo and Uber ended up in court battles over what he did. And so, yet more happening within the auto industry.
Stealing's bad, children. Okay.
Okay.
It's I'm waiting for the first EV patent troll. It's coming. But this sort of presages that. I mean, yeah, certainly Fisker and then Carma developed a car. Carma calls it now the Rivero, and there's some knowledge involved there, but really, is it something worth stealing? And again, like Patrick pointed out, the infotainment system.
Mhm. Well, I mean, the Karma would be a stupid name for a car.
No, it's a
So
song of
they
the
had to
80s. Karma, Chameleon.
Yeah. So this is what, the like 8th major EV related stealing case that we've heard from lately, and it needs to stop. I mean,
They should just rule that Lordstown should pay Karma $50 for every car they shipped as a royalty. That's case problem solved.
Oh man.
Right.
so that's it. So, if they produce any, I mean, they've had a lot of. They had the Hindenburg situation. Their first prototype to hit the road caught fire, and then they lost. Not lost, but they pulled out
Wait,
the
Hindenburg wasn't Lordstown, right? That was.
Yeah, they went after Lordstown
Yeah,
too.
they went after Lordstown
Oh,
too.
did
They
they?
go after
Okay.
anybody that doesn't have a T in the beginning of their name.
I'm sure they would if they could find something. So, but the other thing about it is they also pulled out of the pickup truck endurance competition. Was it the name escapes me? I submitted it as a story at some point, but. So I'm wondering if they are even close to getting ready, and if they have what it takes to make it.
It sounds
Hopefully
like
they
paper.
do. Right. And in the article they've got a picture of their sign. And I'm thinking all they did was paint the GM sign black and changed out the panels.
Yes, yeah, they are definitely in the old GM factory, and it shows. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Lordstown be a legitimate product.
Yes.
To be a competitor, but it's a difficult space to compete in, and apparently there's a lot of hucksters in business. Huh, who would have thought?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Who'd have thunk it?
Would they have had more success had there not been a political change? I mean, their debut was a little political.
Oh, I see. You. Oh well, I don't know. Yeah, I
Or
couldn't.
maybe
comment
some
on
of the
that,
deals
Kacey,
would have
but
been able to.
That's an interesting. Yeah, maybe there was something with a different administration. Somebody could have said, "Oh yeah, we're going to float you the Lordstown subsidy. It's 30,000 per vehicle you ever produce, maybe, sort of, kind of, if you actually ever make something." I don't know. It's just make products and sell them, guys. That's all we ask. Make honest products and sell them. That's it. I know. I'm silly. Let's go to my friend Mark Coughlin for This Week in Tesla.
This week in Tesla.
Nothing happened? Thanks, Mark. We're done.
You never get tired of that joke.
I never get to. I'm sorry. I don't. But, and you know what? Because Mark's such a good. Thank you, Mark. I'm sorry. Now, having said my one humorous aside, I will shut up.
All right. So this week, it was all about the earnings call. Q1 2021 happened recently, and Elon and execs got on the phone and went through the earnings call just this Monday. Some short notes on it. 7th consecutive profitable quarter in a row for Tesla. So almost 2 years now of profitable quarters. They did $10.389 billion with a B dollars in that quarter in revenue. That is 93 cents profit per share non-GAAP, a 74% year-over-year growth over quarter one of 2020. And of course, in the automotive sector, the first quarter is always your worst. So this broke all records for them. It's their highest quarter in many different slots. So I can't imagine what quarter 2, 3, and 4 are going to be, because those are the ones that you typically sell more vehicles in. The Model 3 has become the best-selling premium sedan in the world, surpassing BMW, Audi, and the Mercedes entry. So we've got a car after 3.5 years now has sold more than its competitors in that segment, and they're not even electric cars. So the Model 3 is doing fabulously well. Gross margin continues to increase. So Tesla still is able to cut costs, improve efficiencies, and get more profit out of the vehicles they're making. So that is still going on. Along with the rest of the world, of course, Tesla has experienced the supply chain issues, slowdowns, chips, for example, computer chips, other things of having to move things around. That again played into fact for Q1, but Tesla was still able to come out on top. So they talked a little bit about those difficulties that have been happening. The big story last quarter was, of course, Tesla had purchased Bitcoin, and what they did this quarter is they indicated that they sold 10% of their holdings of Bitcoin, locked in a profit. Patrick's got the profit right there, and they were able to cash in on some of that profit that they had made in Bitcoin in the short time that they've owned it. They also indicated that the 4680 battery, which of course will be the future battery used in the Model Y, the Cybertruck, possibly the Semi, other vehicles, it's not in production yet. So there is that production plant, that pilot plant in Fremont or near Fremont on Cato Road that we assumed they were building batteries. Well, they are building them, but they're not quite ready to put them in vehicles. So there's a bit of a delay in those batteries. So it'll be interesting to see how that fits into the plan. Of course, the Gigafactory in Austin, Texas, and of course, Berlin are slated to open before the end of the year. So there's a question of what batteries will be supplied to the vehicles being made there. Solar at Tesla Energy is now being bundled with Powerwall. With the constraint of batteries they're still under, they're telling suppliers that they'll buy whatever batteries they've got. Please continue to make more. They are going to be doubling the number of cars that they sell this year in 2021. And with that, the Powerwall, they're now bundling with solar. So you can't buy a Powerwall on its own. It has to be sold with a solar system because they just don't have enough batteries to make them. So they're, with the supply constraint they're under, they're going to sell them with their solar installations. And another piece of interesting information is that they believe the Model Y, with all the success the Model 3 has had, the Model Y is expected to be the world's best-selling car of all time, possibly as soon as 2022, if not in 2023. So with the coming online of the factories in Austin and Berlin, the first vehicle they're making are Model Ys, along, of course, with Fremont and Shanghai. 4 factories putting out the Model Y will push that to an all-time high and will be able to beat any vehicle available in the world market today in volume.
How is that possible?
Because, of course, the number of vehicles that they're producing, they can sell everything they make. They have not been there. They've only been constrained by the amount of supply, batteries that they can get to put in these vehicles. They've sold everything that they have.
But like how many Corollas get sold?
Yeah, yeah. You got 50 years of Corolla sales, and you're telling me that Tesla's cramped out that many Model Ys in the last 3 years?
In one year.
Yeah, so they're talking about annual production for the year
Correct.
2022.
A prediction.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
But
Sorry, Mark.
not all the Corollas sold since the beginning of
No,
the year.
then you got to beat the bug.
It's an
How
annual
many
production
Corollas
number.
get sold in this year?
Yeah, an annual production number.
Yeah. They
So
got close
that's
to the Camry last year.
That's the news from Tesla in the Q1 earnings report. So lots to think about. Company continues to pump out vehicles, and of course, with those new factories coming online by the end of the year, they're going to have a lot more vehicles. In fact, on the Tesla Life show, which we talk exclusively about Tesla, Kacey, Patrick, and myself, we believe that in 2021, the number of vehicles that Tesla will push out will be somewhere between 900,000 and 1.1 million. And this year, of course, they did previous year, they did 500,000 vehicles. So we predict they're going to double it.
Okay.
I got some. They're not going to. I got some. They're not going to make that number money. Well, just let me know when and how.
All right. Put it on the whiteboard. What's your number, Russell? It's less than 900K.
Less than 900K. Yeah, I'll take that.
The thing to remember, Russell, is they've got 2 factories opening this year, and then a third part of China is opening this year, and all they're going to make is Model Y, starting with. So,
but you got to have batteries and chips to make those cars.
Well, they said in the shareholder call that they got the chips. They happen to be different chips than what they are used to using. That's what slowed down Model S, according to Musk. And the battery orders they placed with all their suppliers, existing suppliers, are double of last year. So unless they're going to sit on the batteries, or the suppliers aren't going to deliver them, plus their own battery factory,
we shall see.
It stands to see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not a prophet. I have no window into the future.
You're a skeptic.
I'm skeptical. Yeah, I mean,
Heavy on the skeptic.
there we go. Well, thank you, Mark, and do follow the Tesla Life on Twitter. An awesome follow, and every once in a while you get to see me troll Mark back. Because he trolls me too. And of course, on YouTube, search for the Tesla Life, look for the shiny red logo, and do subscribe because that is the best Tesla news show you can possibly be involved in. And there's a lot of really bad ones out there. None of which I'll name because I don't want to upset my 3 compatriots here on the Tesla Life. Anyway, well, thank you so much for that. Let's go to Georgia, who has some good news.
Finally, at least.
Please be good news.
Well, I think this is pretty good news. So, Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory has done a survey of the world's foremost wind power experts. No, I do not mean the White House press corps. They are actual experts in real wind, and they are saying that the costs for future wind energy are going to drop pretty significantly. Well, they expect cost declines of 17% to 35% by 2035 and 37% to 49% by 2050. And that's pretty good, both in an increase in more onshore and floating offshore and fixed bottom offshore projects are going to definitely be coming along with that. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that, but the key factors are upfront capital costs, the ongoing operating costs, capacity factor, and project design life, and the cost of financing. They think that there's going to be improvements across all the dimensions. One of the most interesting things is it's going to mean also larger turbines are on the horizon, probably literally on the horizon as we try to get those things installed. So they're predicting a capacity of offshore wind turbines, capacity of 17 megawatts. Now, let's see. I'm not good at the math on that one. Patrick, you're better at the math. What does that work out to? 17 megawatts by 2035 in capacity. And then a rotor diameter of 250 meters, which is damned large, and a hub height of 151 meters. I mean, we're talking giant here. So we're going to see more of those, and they hope to have by 2035, 356 megawatts cubed produced by offshore wind energy. So it's sounds like we're going to have a pretty good handle on adding more wind power to hopefully an improved electrical grid for America, which I think can't go wrong with that. Sustainable, clean, and the worst thing a wind power spill will be is everybody's hair gets messed up. That's about it.
Right. Yes, that's not an oil spill. It's not a nuclear meltdown. It's just a nice windy day. And yeah, I was looking at this chart you were just talking about, how the size of these things is. So going from 2019 to what they predict in 2035, it'll have more than triple the output, or almost triple the output, and for the offshore. And these things just keep getting bigger every year. If the way a wind turbine works, the bigger it is, the more efficient it is, and it scales with size. And so every year they're getting bigger and bigger, and it looks like that trend is just going to keep continuing.
Plus, as you put them out to sea rather than over land, then the wind gets to be more consistent, and the taller they are.
Well, I'm fascinated by them because I've seen some of the turbines up close. I've actually driven past, I think, headed between Sacramento and San Francisco. There is a facility that actually houses some of them.
Yeah.
And these things are massive. Like one blade is larger than your standard sedan. And I would love to get out there and just see one up close to see how freaking big are these things, especially the offshore ones.
I worked for a company, and he said his standard model is the size of my desk. he showed me a scale model, and the scale model was bigger than a basketball. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I love all those windmills out. It's like Altamont and Tracy. It's just gorgeous out there.
I love them. I know some people, but of course, I firmly believe that's because they are disparaging green energy in general. Some people believe it's an eyesore or anything else. And I'm just like, they have this beautiful stark aesthetic, especially the ones that are situated offshore. So I'm very excited to see more of it. I love the fact that you can download the PowerPoint that summarizes the whole survey and have a fact sheet if you're really willing to get into the predictions of future wind energy. But I just think that the fact that we are seeing investments pay off and that people are sticking with it, it's long overdue. I really wish we'd been working on green energy going back to Carter's time, because we've lost a lot of ground. Mm-hmm. But it's my hope that, much like the American COVID vaccine program, that we're able to really apply ingenuity and do some real leapfrogging to create more wind energy projects and get a handle on this sustainable energy situation.
When you look at historically, we've been using wind for centuries. I mean, the modern style with Holland and the Netherlands, and the folks complaining about how they look. I mean, like you said, for this, most of it's going to be offshore. So if you're complaining about how it looks offshore, are you a fisherman?
Yeah, or are you just looking for an excuse to bash on it?
Right.
Yeah,
we're talking like deep sea commercial fishermen.
It's not going to disturb a fish. As far as I know, I've not seen a single drop of science that says a turbine offshore disturbs fish at all. Right. Garbage disturbs them more.
Yes.
Yeah.
It causes cancer. Okay.
Windmill cancer, baby.
Yeah. Okay. We know that. One of our leaders told us that.
Somebody told us that. Yeah.
Oh man. So hey, if Tony were here, I'm sure he'd say wind energy. I'm a big fan.
Sounds like leaves there.
That's so bad.
That's two bad jokes today. So
a tribute to Tony Schaefer that he definitely earned. Diversifying our energy generation is a good thing. And if these super huge windmills, turbines, whatever you want to call them, will help, that's great.
Turbines are hats.
Yeah, there's.
You mean turbines?
Turbines? Turbines, excuse me. Well, it might. Hey, how do you know you can't generate energy with a 450 meter turbine? Okay, Mr.
You're right.
Smarty Pants.
Yeah, I could get a beanie with a little propeller on it. Yeah, my wind turbine.
Exactly. There you go. Speaking my casual, sloppy San Diego dialect, it's turbine. No. Great story. Great story. I wanted to bring up something I saw on the Riley Brennan newsletter this week, which, by the way, one of the best sources for auto news in general. If you don't read that newsletter, seek it out, find it. Maybe I'll put a link to it in the show notes. Fantastically well-curated list of auto news. Anyway, from the Detroit Bureau, written by, and pardon me, Joseph, I'm thinking your last name is Cizenzi, but I'm not sure. So my apologies if I screwed that up. Just really kind of going over something we've talked about, I've certainly talked about before, which is affordability of new cars. This person, he interviewed some auto analysts, the Center for Automotive Research, for instance, and just looking at the problem that more and more expensive cars are going to generate. Longer and longer financing terms, more defaults. We're potentially, and I know that if you predict the negative long enough, eventually you'll be right. Even if you have to wait until the end of the universe and, everything's collapsed. But I do think this is a really dangerous situation that we're in, where incomes aren't going up stratospherically, but costs are. New car prices have risen significantly in the last 20 years, from $23,000 on average to $40,000 on average. Americans are keeping their cars longer than ever for the last few years. That trend has continue to increase. I think we're up to almost 11 years now, the average time an American owns a car. 11 years. That's a long time. One car in 11 years. It wasn't that long ago when I remember people bought new cars every year. Now, am I saying that's a good thing? I'm not. But I am saying there's an economy here, and there's jobs here, and there's other things to kind of take into consideration. If the car business manages to kill itself, it's not going to be good for us. Unless they all start making trains, and they're not going to do that.
Well, I mean, you've also got population growth that's slowing, and a lot of people are choosing not to drive at all. So more people keeping their cars longer is not good for the industry.
Well, and it's certainly not good for safety or the ecology as well, as the older cars aren't as clean, aren't as safe, and those are the ones that are, staying on the road.
Right, but that doesn't mean people should go into debt to try to make a car payment to have a new shiny toy either.
I am definitely not here to say that everybody needs to go out and buy a new car for the sake of the economy. That is way not me. But I do think it's an interesting business trend where the manufacturers are like, no big deal. People will pay it. We'll finance it for 10 years. I mean, we have 8-year financing now on car loans. 8 years, 96 months.
That's
a car
ridiculous.
I mean, financial experts will tell you if you cannot pay for a car in 36 months, it's too much car for your budget.
Right, and you shouldn't be spending more than 20% of your take home on that payment.
Right. Because if you have an 84-month car loan, chances are by month 60, the car is going to start breaking down. It's going to need maintenance. You're going to be way upside down on your loan, and you're stuck with it. So.
Right.
And yet, people need transportation. The used car market is hotter than ever, and those prices are as strong as they've been, I don't know, in a long time. People need to get from point A to point B, and we can't rely on public transit because a lot of communities just haven't even begun to think about that yet.
Or worse, they're cutting it.
Right.
Or they're cutting it. Yeah. COVID certainly hasn't helped that. This is a difficult. I'm sorry. Please, Georgia.
Do you think that maybe some of that is the concept of leasing cars, where we kind of taught people to treat a car not as a permanent asset, but as something
subscription
that you're basically going to dispose of and get a new one. So you had a lot of people for whom they're like, oh well, it fits my lifestyle because I would like to have a new looking car, and that way I'm not responsible for it. But the thing is that you're still responsible for it, and you're paying out a lot of money. You never fully own this car, and it's, to me, I've always looked at leasing as a penny wise pound foolish, because even if you're paying just $200 a month for each car you buy, that is an infinite $200 a month.
Yeah, your 8-year loan is now turned into a forever loan.
So leasing can work for some people, but like you mentioned, that may be spurring some neighbors who it doesn't work for to try and purchase too frequently and purchase too deeply into their pocket. Yeah, and it's a little easier with a lease to dial that into your usage and your budget. But like you said, if people are trying to keep up with it, or if they're taking that opportunity now that it's cheaper to buy more car than they need, then that could end up putting them in a worse place. Because like you said, once you're done with your lease, you're turning it in. There's nothing left. So you got to be careful with that.
And if you go over the mileage allotment or you ding up the car, you got to pay to give it back to them.
Yeah, you got to be more careful with them.
And not to make this too personal, but my wife and I just turned in a lease. Her Camry. It was the end of a 3-year lease. She almost never drove it. Out of the 36,000 miles we were allotted, I think she put 15,000 on it. Okay?
Wow. In
great shape. We were thought, hey, maybe we'll buy it. Right? Maybe we'll buy it. I didn't really like it, but she loved it, and I get it. And so the buyout, after paying $500 a month, whoa, hey there. After paying $500 a month for 3 years, the buyout was $25,000.
I like when the buyout is a better price than it should be.
I mean, and so take it or leave it. There's no negotiating.
Right, because
take it or leave it.
The used car market's hot, so they have the market for it. So they have no incentive to deal with you.
Exactly. They'll put it on the market. They'll sell it for $25,000 tomorrow.
Well, it's kind of like with Tesla with the Model 3 and the Model Y. You can't buy it out, even if you want to. That thing, that they're going to sell it for new prices on the used car market. But like my last car before the Volts was a lease, and it was great until I changed jobs. That was in the next town over. So I got out before I ran through my miles.
Yeah. I think leases are good. I think there are some people for whom leases are great.
Yeah.
And some cars. But probably, I'm talking about maybe 25% at most of the leases that are out there.
Yeah, they're not for everybody.
Yes, well, the corollary of that. Go ahead, Paul.
I would say if you're like the sort of European, German type of vehicle, Audis, BMW, Mercedes, lease those, because after about 3 years, they need very expensive repairs, and you don't want to be owning that car. But if you want the enjoyment of driving it, lease it for 3 years and give it back. But
just mind your budget.
Yeah. Well, I was raised by a mechanic, so my stepfather's a mechanic. So for him, his idea of a car that a fancy car is he goes to the junker and he finds a Beamer, and then he reconstructs the body and rebuilds it, and he drives around and he sells it. He did pay $5,000, I think, or something like that for a Beamer recently, and he's told me consistently he regrets doing it because he bought an older BMW that, again, as Paul just said, now has expensive repairs, and he's like, I was feeling like I wanted to have a fancy one because he's retired, and it's like, and he's like, this has just been a waste. I feel like I totally got a lemon.
Oh.
So don't let society tell you to add that fancy thing.
Yeah, definitely. That you can often the person driving the fancy car is probably the one that's broke from car payments, and the person driving the 10-year-old clunker is the one that actually has the money in the bank and is going to be able to retire early. So the first car I ever bought, I had 5-year loan on it, and but at the end of those loan payments, I'm like, I hate making these payments. So my plan was to keep making those payments, but to myself in a savings account for the next 5 years, drive it for 10 years. And then when I want to buy a new car, I'm going to pay cash. So that first one I bought, that's the only one I ever made payments on. Every car I've bought since then has been in cash. And I just hate payments. They drive me nuts. It's like, why am I going to pay for the thing and the bank a bunch of money? That makes no sense to me. So if you can afford it, don't make payments, because that's for chumps.
And not only that, if you finance any car, even like a 8-year-old or a 10-year-old car, the lender makes you fully insure it. So now you've got more expensive insurance than if you buy the car outright and you want to roll the dice and just buy a liability because you're a good driver, you can do that, but not when there's a lender involved.
Good point. Depending on what state you're in, yeah.
There you go. Well, for our final story tonight, let's go to Mr. Paul Guzik, who has some fun.
Yes. So this is actually an older clip. It's from, I think, late December.
December 22nd.
But it's our good friend, I guess we'll call him the Russell Frost of Australia.
That's fucked up. Okay, that is what did I do to you, Paul? You had to go there. You had to go John Cadogan on me, huh?
Last week you were Billy Connolly, and now.
Yeah. But he's kind of a snarky, opinionated guy in the car business in Australia.
Oh, I don't see the resemblance.
Well, Russell has more hair, so. You know. But John Cadogan, he is entertaining. I don't always agree with everything he says, but I do agree with a lot of what he says. And he has no friends in the auto industry, kind of like Russell. And he basically lays out some points which are somewhat valid on what Tesla is going to, or what could happen to Tesla this year. Simply because everyone else is catching up and Tesla is making mistakes and is sometimes more hype than reality. So I encourage you to watch the video. He also refers to Elon as Electric Jesus. And some of the people who buy his cars as his disciples. But very interesting. And if you want a really good episode of John Cadogan, and we've talked about this before on the show, Google the one where he talks about nitrogen tire inflation.
Yes.
That is a classic episode. And anybody who gets snookered into putting nitrogen in their tires needs to watch that episode. He is coming around towards EVs. He was a petrol head, but he did do a story on I think it was a Kia Niro he drove for quite a few months in Australia and gave some honest real world opinions on day-to-day life with an EV from a guy who would probably not have even sat in an EV 5 years ago. So worth tuning him in. Not all his comments make sense to Americans, but he is an entertaining fellow.
There'll be a link to that video in the show notes. You can watch that or search John Cadogan, car expert. The last name is Cadogan. He is very Australian, which is half of the fun of listening to him.
And don't watch it at work either.
No, yeah, definitely not safe for work.
Have headphones on.
Don't gather the kids around. They'll learn words you don't want them to know.
There's two Australians that you can't listen to at work on the show.
That's right, yes.
We started with an Australian story and ended with one, yeah.
There's a theme here.
Australian sandwich.
Maybe the show title, Don't Listen to Australia. No, wait, Don't Play Australians Out Loud. I'll figure that out.
Something about a Vegemite.
Yes. Australian Vegemite sandwich.
Instantly, Men at Work are playing in my head because I'm that old. So,
right.
I'm sorry.
So he's doing this because Tesla bashing gets him an audience. So you know that's partly he's doing it for the fun and for the clicks on YouTube.
Yeah, but some of his points, I too have heard the fit and finish of a lot of Teslas isn't what it should be for a company worth that much money and selling that many cars. So they've got some challenges still, and every month other companies are getting closer to delivering EVs, real companies, as he says.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
and not to refute Patrick's point, but just as a counterpoint to that. Yeah, you know what? Mentioning Tesla gets you clicks, and being a Tesla contrarian certainly does draw an audience. But let's make no mistake, there's a lot more money in being a Tesla supporter.
I'm not seeing
Lot
any.
more money. I'm not getting either, but I can name
Oh yeah.
5 shows right now run by idiots that do nothing but pump Tesla, relentlessly pump Tesla.
There are certainly some shows out there that got free roadsters out of it, which will not delivered yet.
Allegedly, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Sure.
On paper.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the owners. They're waiting for those cold air jets to... I got nothing.
Oh, you got the extra for that.
Do watch him. He's funny. And if not, let us know in the comments.
I will say on the Fit to Finish, Elon addressed that with his Sandy Monroe interview. He said basically with them, you want to get the hand-built units, or you want to wait till they've nailed down the assembly line process, and that the ones in the middle are going to be the ones we hear about with the paint and the panel gaps and the mismatched door panels, etc.
Right, but there's still a young company in the automotive. I mean, when was the last time you saw a Corolla that made it to a showroom with a panel gap? You know, or
I used to work at a Toyota dealership, so that's cheating, but
Yeah,
but the legacy companies have got most of that stuff sorted.
yeah, it doesn't happen as frequently with them.
right. And if we look at the number of Corollas produced in a year versus the number of all the Tesla cars produced in a year, we're going to get some perspective on that. Again, not defending that. There are some companies that are better at making things than others. Whether they're making good things or not isn't necessarily the same argument. They're just better at making those things. And I think, yeah.
I mean, the main point of mentioning him is he is somewhat entertaining, and you know,
I'll give it a
tells
listen.
it like he sees it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not on anybody's payroll. You can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell.
And you can leave him a comment
Just
and
like
tell him
Russell.
it's okay. That's it. I got nothing else. I'm going to say thank you very much. Let's do some shout outs and go home. I'm going to start with Kacey Green because he looks like he has something to say. So
our on Monday we went through and we played and did commentary on the Tesla Q1 shareholder call, and you can find that over at youtube.com/Kacey Green. That's KACEYGREEN. And by we, that was our friends Mark, Patrick, and Omar. And we had a blast, brought up some good points, and the audience also brought up some good points. You'll find that under live streams.
absolutely. Well, search for Kacey's channel. It's youtube.com/Kacey Green, KACEYGREEN. Do subscribe. Do click notifications because he's the man. Mr. Connor, you got anything to plug?
I'm too busy bantering with Georgia about some funny show titles that we might have.
I need those.
They're going back and forth.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Yeah, so a couple plugs. And with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association, you can find us at oeva.org. And I also blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. Right now, the story that I have up there is 40,000 miles in my Tesla Model X. And coming on Saturday, everything you've always wanted to know about Powerwalls. I have them, and I'm obsessed with them.
You have 2 or 3?
3. Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
3. Not 1.
But you got them before you had to buy the solar from Tesla too, right?
It's
yes,
always been that way.
Although we have Tesla Solar, so I don't know how that would have worked with the retrofit. But
You have Solar City Solar, sir. You do not have Tesla Solar.
yes, acquired by Tesla.
I'm
Yes,
just saying.
yes.
Allegedly, there was a difference.
I don't know about that. Yeah.
But Patrick is definitely an expert on Powerwalls. Again, owning 3 of them, which is something not many people can say.
And we had a
only got
blackout
one.
with them in February. So
Casey
we
has
went through
one.
that.
Is yours hooked up?
The
Yeah.
electrician hasn't called me back yet.
Right. Yeah, I know you've been fighting with everybody on that one. So Mr. Guzik, what's going on in Boulder?
Beautiful days. Still short on inventory. If you're looking to buy a used hybrid or EV, and it's a nationwide problem. I had a client who wanted a Chevy Bolt. The closest one I could buy at the wholesale market was in Orlando, Florida.
Oh,
Got to ship it across the country. So not the best time if you're looking to buy a new or used car.
yeah.
But if you need a car and you're in Colorado, check us out at boulderh.com. But if you don't need a car, wait a few months. The market hopefully will get better as supply chains get back on track and COVID starts going away. Let's hope it goes away.
As I like to say, I bought my car from Paul and have enjoyed every minute of it. You will too, if you're anywhere near the front
and
range.
Good thing you bought it when you did, because it would probably be worth $1,500 more now than when you bought it. And it was an old used car. It wasn't, a new car.
Maybe I should sell it. Oh no, wait. No, I'm just.
You need a car.
What do you drive?
Then just walk everywhere.
Then I have my scooter. But
Oh, there you go.
yeah, no, that wouldn't be good. I need.
Hey, sweetie, we're going to the store. Hop on the back of the scooter.
George, are you up
Each
for that?
carry 2 grocery bags.
No.
Oh, I've carried an enormous amount of stuff on my scooters over the years. Believe me, furniture.
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
stories.
But
That
the
does
whole
not sound
family
safe.
with groceries, like those YouTube videos in Asia and stuff.
Oh, if you don't think that I don't have like a little Vietnamese in my blood, where I can stack like 5 cases of soda and 8 bags of groceries on my Yamaha 125. Thank you. I will own that forever. And I got home. Everything was safe. Everything was fine. All I'm saying is it can be done. Was it a good idea? I leave that up
There's
to
a
others
lawyer
to
calling
judge.
saying, no, don't listen to Russell.
Don't
You should
listen.
not try this at home.
Do not do that.
What Drives Us does not recommend you try to stack furniture on your scooter and drive it.
Yeah, that's what drives you off a cliff.
It was a
That's
coffee
different
table,
show.
okay? It was a coffee table. It wasn't, but it was a
What
big
would
coffee
drive
table.
you off a cliff? That is a different show.
That is not our show.
Tables especially aren't aerodynamic, so they'll catch the wind.
No, they were not. Yeah, the table was a little hairy, actually. Mr. Coughlin, I bet you have something good to say.
Yes, I do. If you're watching this program at this point, please give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please press that subscribe button. Help us out. That will get us more eyes on the show and would be greatly appreciated. Also, you can follow us on the, of course, interwebs with all the different social medias. All you have to do is search on What Drives Us. We're there. Click on it, subscribe, and join the conversation in between shows.
Mark Coughlin is wise beyond my powers of explanation, so I'm just going to say thank you.
I've got a comment for Mark. I learned this past week that the Toyota/Lexus manufacturing plant in Cambridge, Ontario, which I think is just down the road from you.
Yep.
They actually have a Tim Hortons in their factory that is
What?
for the employees only. And the general public is pissed because they Google Tim Hortons and it directs them to the Toyota campus and they can't go into the Tim
Can't get
Hortons.
in.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So how Canadian is that, right? Like you've got a Tim Hortons in your factory.
Very cool.
How much does that company, you said it's a Toyota factory?
Yep.
How much
Yeah,
does Toyota love their people that they put a Tim Hortons in the factory?
Yeah, that only their employees can go to.
Nice.
Similar to that, Paul, there's a story about Norfolk, Virginia. They put a Tim Hortons on a military base in Norfolk, and nobody as the public is allowed in because it's on a military base. But of course, it shows up on Google Maps.
Yeah.
Oh my
But is there a
God.
Canadian base there as well? Or?
Well, it's Canadians train there.
Oh, okay.
Ah, that's
Okay.
why.
Because
Yeah.
Americans wouldn't care about that.
No.
I would.
Yeah,
Okay,
Try to
I'm
go
not.
onto a Canadian military base and they're like,
So if you ever buy like a Lexus SUV and there's a Timbit jammed in the door panel, that's
Yeah,
You know how it got there.
it was me. I did it. No, I actually eat all the Timbits. Wouldn't waste it on a door panel unless it was rattling, and then maybe. Georgia, Your shout out, please.
I got not much shouting out to do except to the rest of my hosts, reminding you to subscribe to Kacey Green's channel, to the Tesla Life. And while you're at it, hook up with us here on the social medias. You can follow Russell. You can follow What Drives Us. You can follow the Tesla Life, all on the Twitter machine. Don't follow me. I don't want to connect with you. But
Best plug ever. Yeah.
Don't
I hate
follow
all you
me.
people. Stay away from me. Y'all got cooties. I want none.
I don't want to catch your digital cookies. No, I'm just not safe for work. I am much like the Australian stuff we put in today's show, completely not safe for work. But we are glad to have you here today. So don't forget to hit like and subscribe for us, so you will know when the next What Drives Us is bounced into your inbox from YouTube. And I'm going to throw this back to Russell because that's all I got to say.
Thank you so much, Georgia. Don't follow Georgia. You can follow me if you want to swear at me on Twitter, which, frankly, lots of folks do. I certainly welcome it. I'm at Russell Frost, just like it sounds, at Russell Frost. Go ahead, follow me. But you won't like it because I'm kind of all over the place on Twitter.
Nobody does.
Nobody does. Yeah. You think I'm bad on this show? I'm worse on Twitter. Okay.
Lots of cat pics.
Let's just leave it at that. I want to thank Kacey Green, Georgia McKenzie, Mark Coughlin, Patrick Connor, and Paul Guzik for being the most incredible panel that I could not pay to show up here and put up with my crap. Thank you so much. I'm quickly trying to get the music up for the end of the show because the phone shuts off, right? You're like, what's Russell doing? What the fuck? Anyway, thanks, of course, to all of you. Do follow us at What Drives Us all over social media and, of course, the YouTube channel, youtube.com/whatdrivesus. We appreciate your support so much. You, all of you, each one of you are the reason we do this show. Tune in next week and find out what drives us. See you then.
That's negative.